Well, it's this moment from former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki that has online users talking. Ms. Psaki was on MSNBC's Morning Joe show where she praised Joe Biden for being up before 9 a.m. working on the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank. Take a look.
That's what people need to hear from him. Now, it's important to note President Biden does nothing at 9 a.m. He is a night owl. So the fact that he is doing this at 9 a.m. anyway speaks to how vital the White House recognizes it is for him to have his voice out there, conveying that to the American public.
For Jen Psaki to commend the president for working at 9 a.m. because he's usually a night owl didn't go down too well with those online, given 9 a.m. is the traditional work start time. One person wrote, "Lol, they're praising him because he showed up during normal work hours. The bar is on the floor." Brian Kilmeade wrote, "So the presidential bar is so low now that the president showing up during normal working hours in the morning is now worthy of praise." Did she just admit that the president of the United States does nothing at 9 o'clock in the morning? Another said. Someone simply wrote, "Hilarious." And finally, "We're supposed to be impressed that he made a special effort to get to work by 9 a.m. It's so important that he did some work at 9 a.m. He's presiding over record inflation and 3 bank failures in as many days, but thank God he gave a speech where he took 0 questions at 9 a.m. The president was attempting to provide confidence in the American people when it comes to the economy. This is because the banking sector was seriously rocked when Silicon Valley Bank, Silvergate Capital, and Signature Bank all collapsed late last week, prompting fears of a US recession. Silvergate and Signature were known to be lenders to the cryptocurrency industry, while SVB failed when investors panicked and pulled their investments after they quickly lost value. President Biden urged that no losses will fall on the taxpayer because of the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank.
All customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today. That includes small businesses across the country that bank there and need to make payroll, pay their bills, and stay open for business. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the Deposit Insurance Fund.
But in true Biden fashion, he walked away when reporters asked about a potential ripple effect.
President, what do you know right now about why this happened? And can you assure Americans that there won't be a ripple effect?
Do you expect other banks to fail, Mr. President?
Should all depositors be protected at all banks?
All right, thank you.
Larry Lopez, who actually used to work for the Silicon Valley Bank, joined Business Now to discuss the economic situation, especially in regards to here in Australia, as our own stock market took a nosedive.
Were you surprised at the demise of your old shop?
I was absolutely shocked. It happened so fast, which I guess is expected when you get a run on the bank. Every banker's at some point in their life has had that nightmare that you have an unpredicted run on the bank, and usually you wake up and say, "Oh, I'm glad it was a nightmare." Saturday morning I woke up and the bank had been seized, so it was a hard lesson.
Why is it then that so many Australian companies, Australian technology companies, came out yesterday and said they had money on deposit with SVB? What was the attraction for Australian companies to leave money on deposit there?
Well, I think 2 things. One is that most, particularly for foreign companies, it's hard to open a bank account. And I think, and I'll take some credit for this, Silicon Valley Bank always paid a lot of attention to this market. We thought the venture capitalists here were very clever, and we thought there were a lot of great companies. You know, we're always looking for the next Canva. And I think Silicon Valley Bank welcomed Australian companies when they arrived in the Valley.